You first noticed it on a Tuesday, the richest kid in school reaching across the lunch table to pull a stranger's tray toward him, the one with 3 bites left on it. He folded the cold crust into a square of foil and zipped it into a backpack that cost more than your father's car. Nobody else saw. They were all watching him the way you watch whether you'll never afford. The shoes, the watch, the silence around him like a moat. His name was Elliot, and everyone called him the richest kid, the way you'd name a mountain, something far off, cold, and done being looked at. A black car dropped him each morning, engine quiet as a held breath, the window so dark you never once saw who was driving. He had the new everything before anyone knew it was coming out, and he wore it like a uniform he hadn't chosen. You envied him the way you envy the sun, completely, and from very far away. But at lunch he sat at the dead end of the long table, where the bench meets the wall, and he never invited anyone, and no one ever asked. And every single day, before the trays got cleared, he gathered what other kids left behind. Half a sandwich, 3 nuggets gone cold, the heel of a roll, an apple with 1 shy bite out of it. He wrapped each piece like it mattered, and the backpack, that beautiful backpack, swallowed it all. The other kids had theories. Tyler said rich people are secretly cheap, that's how they stay rich. Someone said he ate it later, in that big empty house, like a goblin counting coins. You didn't have a theory. You just had a feeling, low in your stomach, that you were looking at something you didn't understand. You knew his house from the road. Everyone did. The one on the hill with the gate and the lawn like a golf course. You'd ridden past it at night 100 times. You never once saw a light on. Your own house was small and loud and always smelled like whatever your mom was burning. Your lunch was a peanut butter sandwich going soft in a bag you'd reused all week. You used to think you'd trade lives with Elliot in a heartbeat. The car, the gate, the quiet. You don't think that anymore. But on that Tuesday you still did, and that's why you followed him. School let out and the black car was waiting like always, idling at the curb, patient as money. But Elliot didn't go to it. He walked the other way, toward the back of the gym, where the buses don't go. You kept far behind, close to the chain link, your heart doing something stupid in your chest. He never looked back once. People who are always watched learn how to disappear. Behind the gym the world got ugly, cracked lot, a dumpster, weeds coming up through the asphalt like the ground was tired of pretending. There was a concrete culvert there, a low pipe the rain ran through, half hidden by a sheet of plywood somebody forgot. Elliot knelt down in his expensive jeans on the filthy ground and made a small sound with his mouth, soft, like a question. And something moved in the dark of the pipe. A dog came out, brown, knock-kneed, ribs you could have counted from where you stood. It didn't run to him fast. It came slow and low, tail going, the way a thing comes to the only person who has ever been kind to it. Elliot opened the backpack. Out came the foil, the napkins, the half a sandwich, the cold nuggets, laid on the flat plywood like a table set for one guest. The dog ate like it was starving because it was. He watched it eat the way some people watch a fire. You stood at the fence and you finally understood the backpack. The richest kid in school had been carrying other children's garbage for miles, every day, to keep one stray alive. He scratched behind its ears. His face, you'd never seen his face do that. It came undone, soft, 10 years old all over again. "Hey," he said, real quiet, just to the dog. "Hey, I know. You should have left." Instead your shoe scraped the gravel, and he turned, and the soft thing on his face slammed shut like the car window. "It's not stealing," he said, fast, standing up, putting himself between you and the dog. "The food was getting thrown out anyway." "I know," you said. It was all you could think to say. "I know." The dog leaned its whole weight against his leg, and he put a hand down on its head without looking, like he didn't even decide to. You asked if it was his. He looked at the dog a long time before he answered. "My dad says animals are a liability," he said. "We move too much. There's no point in keeping things you can't take." So he didn't keep it. He just fed it, every day, and never let himself call it his. You asked what its name was. He said, "I don't call it anything." And you understood that too. You don't name what you've already decided to lose. Over the next weeks he let you come. Not invited, just stopped chasing you off. You'd split your soft sandwich on the plywood, your half and the dog's half, and Elliot would unpack his haul, and the 3 of you would sit in the ugly lot like it was somewhere good. He told you things sideways, the way careful people do, that the house had 11 rooms, and he could go a whole weekend without hearing one human voice. That his mother lived in a different country now and called on Sundays for exactly 8 minutes, and that he'd timed it. There was a woman who cooked, he said, but she left the plates covered in the fridge with the day written on tape and ate at her own home with her own kids. So the richest kid in school ate the warmest meal of his day at the end of a lunch table, surrounded by people, none of them his. And then he carried the leftovers to the one creature on earth that was always, always glad to see him. You finally understood why he ate alone. It wasn't that no one would have him. It was that he was saving the loving for the dog. You started bringing extra, a second sandwich, the jerky your uncle made, a bowl, a real one, from your kitchen, so the dog didn't have to eat off plywood. Elliot turned the bowl over in his hands like it was a strange and expensive thing, a bowl that was just for the dog, that nobody was going to take back. The dog got less knock-kneed. Its coat came in. It learned the sound of the last bell and would be waiting at the mouth of the pipe before you got there. It learned Elliot's footsteps out of all the world's footsteps. That's the thing about being loved by something. You become a sound it listens for. One afternoon, Elliot laughed at something the dog did, really laughed, and then looked almost frightened, like he'd dropped something breakable. You realized you had never heard the richest kid laugh, not once, in 3 years of sharing a building. He told you, careful as ever, that his dad's work might move them again. He said it the way you'd mention rain. You said maybe it wouldn't happen. He looked at you like you were very young and didn't answer. He started doing a thing where he'd memorized the dog, run his hand down its side slow, eyes closed, like he was saving it somewhere they couldn't pack into a box. You pretended not to see. Some things a person should get to do without a witness. On a Thursday, he gave you his good flashlight, the heavy metal kind, and said the pipe got dark early now. You didn't understand it was a goodbye. People with money don't say goodbye out loud. They hand you the thing and let you figure it out later. On Friday, his desk was his desk. On Monday, it was just a desk. No announcement. No card going around. The black car simply stopped coming, and the space where he'd been closed over like water. You went to the office, and they wouldn't tell you anything except that the family had relocated. Relocated. Like he was a tree, like he had roots that came up clean, like he hadn't left anything in the ground behind the gym. You ran. You hadn't planned to, but your legs did it for you, around the gym, across the cracked lot, your backpack banging your spine. The dog was at the mouth of the pipe, waiting, ears up, looking past you, down the path, for a set of footsteps that wasn't going to come. It looked at you, and then back down the path, and then at you again, asking the only question it had. You didn't have the heart to be the wrong answer, so you knelt down in the filth like he used to, and you opened your bag. You'd packed 2 sandwiches that morning out of a habit that was only a few weeks old and already part of you. You laid one out on the plywood, on the flat place worn smooth by a year of his kneeling, and the dog ate, and watched the path, and ate. You went the next day, and the day after. You started gathering trays at the end of lunch, sliding them down, folding cold crusts into foil. Kids had theories about you now. You let them. You'd learned that some things you carry can't be explained to people who didn't see. You never gave the dog a name either. It felt like his to give, and he wasn't there to give it. So it stayed the dog, and it stayed waiting, and you stayed feeding it, the 3 of you somehow, even with one of you gone. Sundays you'd think about a phone ringing in a house with 11 rooms, and a boy timing 8 minutes, in a city you couldn't picture. You wondered if he thought about the pipe. You decided he had to. You decided it so you could stand it. Winter came, and the dog let you put a blanket in the pipe, an old one, your blanket, that nobody was going to take back. It got grayer in the face. It still got up for the footsteps. It still looked past you, every time, before it remembered to look at you. That's the part that stayed with you. Not the gate, not the car, not the watch, not the house on the hill with no lights. Just a dog at the end of a pipe, watching an empty path, certain, the way only an animal can be certain, that the person who loved it was coming back. Everyone had envied the richest kid in school. You had too, from very far away, like the sun. And it turned out the warmest thing he owned was a stray he wasn't allowed to keep, fed on food the rest of you threw away. You think about him at lunch sometimes, at the dead end of the table where the bench meets the wall. You sit there now. You slide the leftover trays toward you before they're cleared. You fold the cold crusts into foil. People watch you the way you once watched him, like weather, like something they don't understand and won't ask about. And you let them, and you zip the foil into your bag, and you go out behind the gym to where somebody is always glad to see you.